Alright, so the time has come to discuss Taurus. Not the sign, but the shape. Or should I say the Ouroboros? So, what can I say? So I had a dream. In this dream, there was a humpback whale. And I was in either a pool or the ocean with the humpback whale. It wasn't the biggest humpback whale, perhaps a juvenile humpback whale. Probably about 20 feet in length, maybe. And so I was in the pool with this whale, and I would dive underwater, and the whale would follow me and dive with me. And it's quite beautiful. But I was trying to encourage the whale to stay underwater longer than I could stay underwater, because I knew the whale could hold its breath longer than I could. And I found it to be a bit frustrating, because every time I had to come up for breath, the whale followed me. But I knew the whale could stay underwater for longer. But I was really happy about this whole encounter, just because how many times we get an opportunity to swim with humpback whales. And there was a time, actually, in reality, where there were humpback whales at this place called Mitchell's Cove in the ocean. And there were a lot of people with kayaks and a lot of people on the cliff watching the whales. They were feeding. There were dolphins, and there were lots of birds. They were eating sardines and krill, not too far from the shore. And they were there for a certain amount of days. And about a week, I'd say. So I had the opportunity to get into the ocean with the whales, because I saw other people doing it. And so I was in the water with these whales, these humpback whales. And they were swimming in circles. These ones were fairly large. One time I was in Alaska, though, and I went whale watching, and we saw like a 60-foot humpback whale, and it was just massive, like the size of a house. But these ones were about maybe 30 or 40 feet, and they would swim in circles, and they'd come around, and they came about 10 feet away from me. And I remember I got so close once, I felt like I need to swim back, And the whale swam right by that location, and if I would have stayed there, I would have came not 10 feet away, but maybe 5 feet away. But I remember one person apparently touched the whale, and the whole town was talking about how somebody had touched the whale and how that was illegal. heard people talking about it at the grocery store. I thought that was interesting. Then there was one person who was on a paddleboard and they got lifted up by one of the whales, and it was a beautiful thing. And I actually got to do it 2 days in a row. Got to go swimming in the ocean with whales, and there were little harbor seals, their heads popping out of the water. And if they saw me, they would be scared and swim away. But there was one point where there were so many harbor seals, their heads just floating above the water, and then I was just amongst them in the crowd. But they didn't notice me. I blended right in with the other harbor seals, little gray seals, and they weren't scared. We were all just kind of kicking it in the ocean. A big wave came. There was a 8-year-old girl, and she would kind of chase after the harbor seals and try to hug them. It's quite funny. But yeah, to the dream, I I wanted the whale to. I was trying to teach the whale, the humpback whale in my dream, to hold its breath for longer, but it just wanted to follow me. But I couldn't hold my breath for as long as it could. And upon waking up, I realized how beautiful it was to be in the ocean or in the water with such a magnificent creature. And it makes me think about how perhaps the only thing more magnificent than a whale in the water, I mean, you can see there is a video of a whale breaching, humpback whales, They'll probably be the first whales to learn how to fly, learn how to take off into outer space. Kind of like in Fantasia. But I'm not sure why we need to worry. See, cause and effect is linear, but time and karma is nonlinear. And we appear to be entering a surveillance state, a surveillance culture, a global surveillance culture. The question is, how are they going to survey everybody? I guess the answer to that has to be algorithms and robots. So, for now, I think we all need to be mindful of how we feed into algorithms and how we use our judgment. And yes, I learned the golden rule was to treat others the way you want to be treated. But it seems like when it comes to royalty, power is power. And so those at the top they don't want you to be mean to them per se, but they will be mean to you. And they may be mean to you first, but they don't want you to fight back. They'll abuse judgment, and they'll even abuse it within paradigms of non-judgment. There are a few non-judgmental communities, such as the yoga community. It's based on non-judgmentalness, but at the same time, judgment can be abused as long as there is the authority to do so. For those of you who watch on the 13 Signs astrology channel, it's been real. And thought policing and thought crimes perhaps are real. And I suppose there is a war to end all wars within the mind of the superconsciousness. And I suppose there's a galactic federation of light. Is it conscious? Is it subconscious? Is it unconscious? I believe it's all three. But, perhaps one day we can learn how to live like the whales, like the humpback whales, like majestic, majestic beings. I see the future. The future is clear. It's obsidian. It's amethyst. It's fuchsia. It's blood red, ruby. It's sapphire, turquoise, indigo. It's golden yellow. It's a jade or emerald green. It's colors we've never seen before. From saffron to ultraviolet. There's so much potential out there for us to explore. But we seem to get lost in the good, the bad, and the ugly. We get lost in love, we get lost in hate, we get lost in fear. But at the end of the day, we're all one, and time is merely an illusion.